They thought it was routine, just another night at a crowded bar. But in seconds, everything changed. Two black twins were dragged out in handcuffs, mocked as suspects, their dignity stripped away in front of dozens of onlookers. What the cops didn't know would shatter their assumptions and their careers. These weren't ordinary patrons. They were undercover FBI agents watching, waiting, and ready. The moment their badges flashed, the entire bar froze, jaws dropped, and the internet erupted. How could a night of humiliation turn into a historic revelation that no one saw coming? The bar was loud, filled with laughter, clinking glasses, and the false sense of safety that most people took for granted. Among the crowd, two figures moved with purpose, identical twins, calm, composed, scanning every corner, every patron. To the untrained eye, they were just another night out. But beneath the casual movements and casual smiles, they were on a mission. Undercover FBI agents embedded deep in a federal sting. Bradford Sterling's arrogance had nothing on these twins' focus. They knew how to blend in, to observe without being observed, a skill honed through years of training. Every angle, every behavior, every security detail was noted in their minds, ready for the moment it mattered most. And then it happened. Two local cops, fueled by assumption and prejudice, decided to make a show of authority. They singled out the twins, calling them suspects, mocking their presence and ordering them to the door. The twins complied for now, but every step was calculated. They didn't panic. They didn't flinch. They had rehearsed this scenario mentally hundreds of times. What the cops didn't realize was that their actions, their overconfidence, had just set the stage for a reversal they could never have predicted. In seconds, a night that seemed routine would become unforgettable, a lesson in arrogance, underestimation, and the quiet power of those who appear ordinary but are anything but. The crowd, oblivious to the storm about to unfold, watched, unaware that they were about to witness humiliation transform into one of the most shocking moments they'd ever seen. The twins were escorted toward the door, their hands cuffed, faces calm but minds alert. The cops barked orders, voices filled with authority and assumed superiority. "You two think you can blend in?" "Not tonight," one sneered, enjoying the public display of power. The crowd murmured, some curious, some uneasy. The twins didn't resist, but every step they took was part of a strategy the cops could never anticipate. As they were dragged past the bar, whispers grew louder. Phones emerged, recording every moment. The twins exchanged a subtle glance, silent communication honed over years of training. They knew what had to happen next, and the plan would unfold perfectly, exposing arrogance for all to see. The lead cop laughed, mocking the twins, confident in his control. But he didn't notice the meticulous preparation behind their calm demeanor. The twins had been tracking every move of the bar's staff, the surveillance cameras, and most importantly, the reactions of the officers themselves. Each scoff, each aggressive gesture had been documented in their minds, and now in real time it would be used. Then the moment came. One twin reached subtly into their jacket, producing a badge and a recording device simultaneously. The atmosphere shifted instantly. The lead cop froze, his smug expression faltering as the badge was revealed. "FBI." The twins' calm voice cut through the tension. "You're under arrest for interfering with a federal operation." Gasps echoed throughout the bar. The second twin mirrored the action, badges flashing, cameras capturing every second. The humiliation that the cops had thought was theirs alone now rebounded with full force. Patrons pulled out their phones, recording the revelation, posting live, watching history unfold. The officers, once in control, became the spectacle, publicly exposed, their arrogance laid bare. Every movement was precise, every step deliberate. The twins' training had prepared them for this exact scenario, but even they couldn't predict the scale of the reaction. The bar erupted with awe, disbelief, and tension as the officers realized that their assumptions about power, race, and authority had been entirely wrong. The energy in the room was electric. What began as a routine harassment had spiraled into a full-scale reversal of control. The cops, red-faced and stunned, were the center of a spectacle that would be replayed across social media, a cautionary tale of underestimation. And in the midst of it, the twins remained composed, their mission complete but their presence commanding every eye in the room. In that charged, chaotic moment, one undeniable truth became clear. In underestimating them, the cops had ignited a storm they could never contain. and the world was watching. The lead cop's confidence collapsed in an instant. The badges flashing in the twins' hands were more than identification. They were a revelation, a statement of power the officers had never anticipated. Panic replaced arrogance as the realization hit. The people they humiliated, mocked and handcuffed were not just ordinary bar patrons, they were federal agents, trained to handle every possible scenario. The bar fell silent. Phones continued to record patrons frozen in disbelief. Every scoff, every condescending comment the officers had thrown now echoed back at them, magnified by the weight of truth. The twins stood side by side, calm, composed, and unshakable, their presence commanding the room. Authority had shifted. Suddenly the cops were the ones exposed, their arrogance laid bare for the world to see. "You are interfering with a federal operation," one twin said steadily, their voice cutting through the tension like steel. "You have been recorded. You are now in violation of the law." Faces turned red, sweat forming on brows. Attempts to argue, to explain, to reclaim control fell flat. Every action the officers had taken, every assumption about dominance had been catalogued, anticipated, and used against them. The public display of power had transformed into a public display of humiliation, one that would follow them far beyond this bar, and then, the twist that would seal their downfall. The twins' phones and recording devices, synced with the bar's security system, began transmitting live to federal headquarters. The evidence was indisputable, undeniable, and damning. Every viewer online would witness the reversal of roles, the triumph of preparation over arrogance, of strategy over prejudice. In that charged moment, the officers realized the full scale of their mistake. What had started as a simple show of authority had escalated into a historic reckoning. Their assumptions about control, race, and power were shattered. And as the twins calmly guided the situation toward resolution, one thought resonated in the bar and beyond. Some people appear ordinary, but underestimating them can change everything in a heartbeat. The night ended, but the impact would linger far longer. Bradford Sterling may have been fictional in this story, but the lesson was real. Arrogance and prejudice can blind even the most confident. The officers, humiliated and exposed, had learned the hard way that power is never guaranteed, and appearances can be deceiving. The twins, meanwhile, walked away with quiet satisfaction. Their mission had been executed flawlessly, every step precise, every reaction anticipated. What had begun as a routine sting had turned into a public revelation, a powerful display that underestimation can be costly, and that preparation, skill, and calm focus can flip the narrative in an instant. For the patrons and staff who witnessed the event, the story became a lesson in humility, respect, and awareness. They had seen firsthand how those who appear ordinary, or even vulnerable, can hold incredible power. The incident spread online, igniting conversations about authority, bias, and the consequences of assuming superiority over others. This wasn't just a tale of a bar confrontation. It was a reminder of the fragile balance between power and responsibility. For every moment of arrogance, there is the possibility of exposure. For every act of mockery, a chance for reversal. The twins' calm, calculated response turned humiliation into history, and the lesson resonated. Never underestimate the underestimated. And as viewers, one question remains. How often do we misjudge those around us, failing to see the strength and potential hidden in plain sight? Because sometimes the quietest people carry the force that can change everything.